The next stop on the road to professional food preparation: weights and measures. USDA recipes list both weight and volume measures for most ingredients. Whenever possible, weigh ingredients because it's faster, easier, and more accurate than measuring volume. However, liquid and ingredients in amounts less than 2 ounces are always measured in volume. If scales are not available, be sure to use the correct methods of measuring ingredients by volume. Volume is the amount of space an ingredient occupies in a measuring container. Fluid ounce is a volume measure, and ounce is a weight measure. To measure liquid and dry ingredients, use standard measuring equipment including measuring spoons, dry measuring containers, and liquid measuring containers. Make measurements level. Use the largest appropriate measure to save time and reduce error. It's more accurate and faster to measure 1 cup of milk than to measure 16 tablespoons of milk. An exception to using the largest measure is when measuring flour. Use no larger than a 1-quart measure. Spoon the flour lightly into the measure and level off with a straight-edge spatula. Avoid shaking or tapping the measuring container, or the flour will pack. Of course, you'll weigh flour whenever possible. Measuring spoons are used to measure small amounts of ingredients such as seasonings, spices, herbs, and flavorings. A set of nested measuring cups are used to measure small amounts of dry and solid ingredients such as salt, yeast, brown sugar, and solid fat. For brown sugar, pack firmly into the measure. The sugar should take the shape of the container when turned out. For solid fats and peanut butter, pack the measure firmly and level off with a spatula. Weighing fats is easier than measuring fats. Dry measuring containers have a straight-edge rim for ingredients to be leveled off at the top. Rings on graduated measures indicate 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4 of the total volume of the container and are counted from the bottom to the top of the container. Liquid measuring containers are usually made of heavyweight aluminum or polycarbonate and have a lip for pouring to prevent spills. To measure liquid, place the largest appropriate container on a flat surface. Pour the liquid into the container until it reaches the desired level. Read at eye level when using a glass or clear container. If using a graduated metal container, look inside to make sure the fill is at the desired level. For quick references, see charts such as volume equivalents for liquids, equivalent weights, and food weights and approximate equivalents in measures. Now let's look at measures of weight noted in ounces and pounds. Weighing is faster, easier, and more accurate than measuring. 2 types of scales are used: traditional and electronic. The electronic scale has a digital readout and a tare button that allows weighing ingredients without including the weight of the container. Simply place the empty container on the scale, press the tare button, and the readout returns to 0. Additional items can be weighed in the same container by using the tare button. Balance and spring scales are types of traditional scales. Balance scales will be more accurate than spring scales. The balance scale is used in the baking area for weighing ingredients in 1/4 to 1/2 ounce graduations up to 25 or 30 pounds. Portion scales are also spring-type scales. They're used in cooking areas to weigh individual portions of foods such as cheeses or meats. They weigh items 1 to 2 pounds in 1/4 ounce graduations. Traditional scales have dials that are either fixed or adjustable. If the dial is adjustable, place the container on the platform and turn the pointer to 0. Next, add the ingredient until the dial reflects the required weight. If additional ingredients are needed, they can be weighed in the same container by adjusting the dial. Just turn the pointer back to 0 before adding the next ingredient. Now we weighed 1 pound of flour and 6 ounces of shortening in the same container. If the dial is fixed, place the empty container on the platform, record the weight of the container. Next, add the ingredient until the total weight equals the required weight plus the weight of the container. For example, if the weight of the container is 10.5 ounces and the required weight is 1 pound, 1 pound equals 16 ounces, so add the ingredient until the weight reaches 26.5 ounces. Accuracy is very important when weighing ingredients. If the pointer moves slightly to either side of the 0 once the measuring container has been removed, use the adjustment mechanism to set the pointer back to 0 before using the scale again. Now let's see just how much time is saved by weighing ingredients instead of measuring them. On one side of the screen, we'll measure 4 cups of flour, 2 1/8 cups or 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons of shortening, and 4 fluid ounces of water. On the other side of the screen, we'll weigh the equivalent of each ingredient, 1 pound of flour, 1/2 pound of shortening, and 4 ounces of water. Measuring time took almost 3 minutes, while weighing took about 1.5 minutes. Remember, whether measuring or weighing, always use standardized equipment, make measurements level, and use the largest appropriate container. And keep in mind that weighing is more accurate than measuring.